open by fall or winter of 2026. It's a centennial celebration of service and dedication at Carle Bromenn Medical Center in Normal, where the hospital's service auxiliary is marking 100 years of community care. The auxiliary, which began in 1925, has been a cornerstone of Carle Bromenn's mission, donating countless hours and resources to improve the lives of patients, staff, and doctors. Services they provide include physician meet and greets with the community and managing the hospital's resale boutique. The auxiliary's financial impact is also impressive, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars each year for hospital equipment and patient care. Today, the auxiliary includes over 500 volunteers, including the junior youth program.
What inspires me is they really saw where there's a need, how could they step in and fill that, whether that was serving jam to patients, whether that was volunteering and working in the waiting room. They stepped in and filled where they saw there was a need.
For those that want to get involved and help support the mission of Carle Bromenn's Auxiliary, you can contact the hospital's volunteer services manager.